In 1788, a man appeared in the courts of Berlin speaking perfect French, claiming to come from a country that did not exist on any map, a place he called Laxaria, and to this day, historians have never found a single trace of it. The room where you now rest is filled with the stillness of night, and somewhere across the centuries, questions remain unanswered, mysteries left suspended in the silence of time. Tonight, we explore the strangest events ever recorded in human history, moments that scholars and scientists still cannot explain. These are not myths or legends, but documented occurrences that resist every attempt at rational explanation, quietly waiting for curious minds to discover them. Welcome to Drowsy Discovery. Over the next 2 hours, over 100 gentle facts will drift through the corridors of history like forgotten echoes. There is nothing to memorize, nothing to remember. Just listen and let your mind drift. Have you ever listened to a story from the past and felt certain that something was missing? You are not alone. If these quiet moments of history bring you peace, consider subscribing and joining our community of sleepy souls who gather here each night. Take a slow breath and let your body settle into stillness. Feel the weight of the day begin to lift, and allow these whispered tales from centuries past to carry you gently toward rest. Let us begin. In 1872, a ship was found drifting with no one on board and no explanation. The Mary Celeste was discovered floating in the Atlantic Ocean between Portugal and the Azores, her sails partially set, her cargo of industrial alcohol untouched, and her lifeboat missing. The captain's log showed no signs of distress, the last entry recording calm weather and routine sailing. Personal belongings remained in the cabins, as if the 10 souls aboard had simply stepped away and never returned. No damage marked the hull, no signs of violence could be found, and provisions were still fresh enough to last for weeks. Theories have ranged from piracy to mutiny, from sudden waterspouts to alcohol fumes causing an explosion scare, yet not a single explanation has ever been proven. Somewhere between the final log entry and the ship's discovery, an entire crew vanished into the silence of the ocean. A mystery that drifts through maritime history like the ghost ship itself. An entire Roman legion vanished into the Scottish Highlands and was never seen again. The 9th Legion of Rome, the Legio IX Hispana, marched northward into the misty lands beyond Hadrian's Wall around the 2nd century, and from that moment onward, history falls silent. Nearly 5,000 soldiers, their armor glinting in the pale northern light, disappeared into the highlands of Caledonia without leaving a trace. No battlefield was found, no mass graves uncovered, no survivors recorded. Some historians believe they were transferred elsewhere, yet no records confirm this, and their absence from military documents remains troubling. The tribes of the north were fierce and knew their land intimately, perhaps ambushing the legion among the moors. Centuries later, fragments of Roman equipment were found scattered across Scotland, yet the fate of those soldiers remains locked in the silence of the hills, a legion that became part of the mist. 3 lighthouse keepers disappeared from a remote island, leaving behind an untouched meal. On the Flannan Isles, a remote cluster of rocks rising from the Atlantic off the Scottish coast, 3 lighthouse keepers vanished in December of 1900. When a relief vessel arrived to deliver supplies, the crew found the lighthouse in working order, lamps cleaned, clocks wound, and a meal laid out on the table, as if the men had been interrupted mid-bite. 2 sets of oilskins were missing, while one remained by the door, suggesting someone rushed outside without protection against the fierce weather. The logbook recorded increasingly strange weather observations and ended abruptly. Searches found nothing, no bodies, no wreckage, no sign of where they had gone. Some believe a rogue wave swept them away, others suspect madness, yet the sea offers no answers. The lighthouse continued its nightly rotation, casting light across empty waters where 3 men had simply ceased to exist. In 1590, a colony of over 100 settlers vanished, leaving only a single carved word. The Roanoke colony was established on a small island off the coast of what is now North Carolina, a fragile outpost of English settlers in the vast wilderness of the New World. When Governor John White returned after 3 years of difficult delays, he found the settlement abandoned, houses carefully dismantled, and the word Croatoan carved into a wooden post. There were no signs of struggle, no evidence of attack, no bodies to suggest violence. The settlers had agreed to leave a coded message if they relocated, yet no Maltese cross for distress was found anywhere. Searches of nearby Croatoan Island revealed nothing, and despite centuries of investigation, the fate of those 117 souls remains unknown. They may have joined local tribes, perished in drought, or met an end that history will never record. A single word carved in wood remains. A medieval dancing plague caused hundreds to dance until they collapsed. In July of 1518, a woman named Frau Trophia stepped into the streets of Strasbourg and began to dance without music, pause, or rest, and could not stop no matter how she tried. Within days, dozens had joined her in this strange compulsion. By month's end, nearly 400 people were moving through the streets in frenzied motion, sweating, screaming, collapsing from exhaustion. Some died from strokes, heart attacks, or sheer physical depletion. City authorities encouraged the dancing by hiring musicians, believing the afflicted needed to dance out the compulsion. This made matters worse. Modern theories suggest mass psychogenic illness triggered by famine and disease, yet no definitive explanation has been accepted. The dancing stopped as mysteriously as it began, leaving records of a city gripped by madness. The body remembers what the mind cannot explain. Strange lights appeared over Nuremberg in 1561, witnessed by the entire city. On the 14th of April in 1561, the citizens of Nuremberg awoke to a sky filled with shapes that defied any natural explanation. Contemporary accounts describe spheres, cylinders, crosses, and crescents appearing at dawn, moving in deliberate formations across the heavens. A woodcut by Hans Glaser depicts hundreds of objects hovering above church spires, some apparently engaged in conflict with one another. Witnesses reported that several of these objects fell to earth and vanished in thick clouds of smoke. The event was interpreted as a divine warning or celestial battle, yet modern explanations from atmospheric phenomena to mass hallucination have proven unsatisfactory. The people recorded what they saw with careful precision, and the woodcut remains preserved to this day. Whatever filled the sky that morning remains beyond certain explanation. The sky itself became a mystery. And from these early mysteries in the skies and streets of Europe, we turn to vanishings that left no trace at all. The crew of the Carol A. Deering abandoned their ship under circumstances that remain unexplained. The Carol A. Deering, a 5-masted commercial schooner, was found run aground on Diamond Shoals off North Carolina in January of 1921, her sails set, lifeboats missing, and her entire crew of 11 men gone without a single trace. The ship's log had been removed, navigation equipment smashed, and belongings scattered as if they had left in desperate haste. A meal was prepared in the galley, suggesting the departure was sudden and unexpected. Earlier that day, a passing lightship observed a crewman shouting that the Deering had lost her anchors, his voice strange and anxious. Despite extensive investigation by multiple government agencies, no trace of the crew was ever found, and the circumstances of their disappearance remain unsolved. The Atlantic holds many secrets, and this is one it will not surrender. In 1880, a man stepped around a corner in front of witnesses and was never seen again. The story of David Lang has passed through generations as one of America's strangest disappearances. Lang was a farmer in Tennessee who walked across his field one afternoon while his wife, children, and a visiting judge watched from the porch. Midway across the pasture, in full view of all witnesses, Lang simply vanished, as if the earth had swallowed him whole without a sound. The ground was examined immediately and found solid, with no holes or disturbances of any kind. His family reportedly heard his voice calling for help from beneath the grass for months afterward, growing fainter until it faded into silence. Skeptics question whether the event occurred at all, noting inconsistencies in the historical record, yet the tale persists in folklore. Whether true or legend, it speaks to a deep fear, the terror of ceasing to exist in a single step. A diplomat named Benjamin Bathurst vanished in plain sight while walking around a carriage. In November of 1809, Benjamin Bathurst, a British diplomatic envoy returning from an important mission to Vienna, stopped at the small German town of Perleberg to rest and change horses. As his carriage was being prepared for the journey ahead, Bathurst stepped around to the far side of the vehicle, out of sight of his companions for mere seconds, and was never seen again. An immediate search of the town and surrounding countryside found nothing: no body, no signs of abduction, no witnesses who could account for where he had gone. His coat and pistols were later discovered in an outhouse in a nearby wood, but Bathurst himself had vanished as completely as if he had stepped through a door into another world. Theories suggest political assassination, robbery, or madness, yet none have ever been proven. A man walked around a carriage and disappeared from history forever. The lead masks of Vintam Hill remain one of Brazil's most baffling historical puzzles. In August of 1966, two technicians named Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel José Viana were found dead on a hillside near Nitri in Brazil, lying side by side in formal suits, their faces covered by crude lead masks. Beside them lay a notebook with cryptic instructions about ingesting capsules at a specific time and waiting for a signal. No cause of death was ever determined, as decomposition prevented proper toxicological analysis. The men were known to be interested in spiritualism and claimed contact with extraterrestrial beings. Witnesses reported a bright light above the hill on the night they died, yet no official explanation has ever accounted for the strange scene. The lead masks, ceremonial positioning, and mysterious notes have made this case a fixture of unexplained phenomena. Two men climbed a quiet hill and met an end no one has understood. A rain of blood was recorded in Kerala, and scientists still debate its true cause. In the summer of 2001, the skies over Kerala in southern India turned red as crimson rain fell across the region for nearly 2 months. The raindrops left stains on clothing and surfaces, and under microscopes, they appeared to contain tiny red particles resembling living cells. Initial theories suggested a meteor had exploded in the atmosphere, scattering biological material across the clouds. Others proposed the color came from spores blown in from distant deserts or algae growing in the atmosphere. Laboratory analysis revealed the particles could reproduce at high temperatures, leading some to speculate about extraterrestrial origins. The official explanation settled on airborne spores from local lichen, yet not everyone was convinced. The blood rain of Kerala remains a subject of debate, a reminder that sometimes the sky delivers mysteries we cannot easily explain. Hundreds of birds fell from the sky in Arkansas on New Year's Eve, with no clear explanation. On the final night of 2010, residents of Beebe, Arkansas, witnessed thousands of red-winged blackbirds falling from the sky like dark rain. The birds were found scattered across lawns, streets, and rooftops, many already dead, others dying from severe trauma. Theories ranged from fireworks startling the flock into fatal collisions to sudden weather shifts or disease. Necropsies revealed the birds had suffered blunt force injuries consistent with striking hard surfaces, as though they had flown blindly into buildings, trees, and the ground. Yet what caused an entire flock to lose its bearings so catastrophically in the darkness remains unclear. Similar mass die-offs have occurred throughout history, each leaving scientists with more questions than answers. When birds fall from a quiet sky, something has gone deeply wrong. And from the skies reigning with the unexplained, we turn to objects that should not exist. An ancient Greek mechanism was found that calculated astronomical positions with impossible precision. The Antikythera mechanism was recovered from a Roman shipwreck off the coast of Greece in 1900, but it would take decades before researchers fully understood what they had found. This corroded bronze device, no larger than a shoebox, contained at least 30 interlocking gears that could predict solar and lunar eclipses, track planetary movements, and calculate the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. Nothing of comparable complexity would appear in the historical record for another 1,000 years. The craftsmanship suggests a level of technological sophistication that challenges our understanding of antiquity. Who built it, how they achieved such precision, and whether similar devices once existed remain open questions. The mechanism sits silently in an Athens museum today, a testament to knowledge somehow lost to history. A hammer was discovered embedded in rock dating back millions of years. In 1936, a couple hiking near London, Texas, found a piece of rock with what appeared to be a wooden handle protruding from it. When the rock was broken open, it revealed an iron hammer head attached to the preserved wood, seemingly encased in stone that dated to the Cretaceous period, over 100 million years ago. The discovery quickly became known as the London Hammer and sparked intense debate about whether human civilization could be far older than currently believed. Geologists have suggested that the rock formed around the hammer through a natural process called calcium carbide precipitation, which can occur much faster than typical sedimentary formation. Yet questions about the hammer's age, origin, and how it came to be encased in ancient stone continue to circulate. Whether the London Hammer is a genuine anomaly or a misunderstood geological curiosity, it remains a fascinating puzzle. Iron pillars in India have resisted rust for over 1,600 years. In the courtyard of the Qutub Minar complex in Delhi stands an iron pillar that has defied corrosion for over 1,600 years. Forged during the Gupta Empire in the 4th century, this 7-meter-tall column contains nearly 7 tons of wrought iron, yet it shows almost no signs of the rust that destroys modern iron structures in a small fraction of the time. Metallurgists discovered its surface is coated with a thin layer of mesawite, a compound of iron, oxygen, and hydrogen that forms a protective barrier against moisture. Whether this was intentional or a fortunate accident of local climate and iron composition remains debated. Ancient Indian metallurgists may have possessed knowledge lost over many centuries, or the pillar may simply benefit from unique conditions. It stands as a monument to craftsmanship that time could not corrode. And as you rest with these thoughts, there is no need to hold onto any of them. Let them pass through you like a slow current of ancient whispers. Take a breath if you wish, and let your body settle a little deeper into the stillness that surrounds you. The Voynich Manuscript is written in a language that no one has ever been able to decode. Since its discovery in an Italian monastery in 1912, the Voynich Manuscript has baffled linguists, cryptographers, and historians alike. Its 240 pages are filled with an unknown script accompanied by strange illustrations of unidentified plants, astronomical diagrams, and human figures bathing in green pools. Carbon dating places its creation in the early 15th century, yet the language matches no known alphabet or cipher system. During the Second World War, codebreakers who had cracked enemy communications spent years trying to decipher its pages without success. Some believe it may be an elaborate hoax, while others suggest it contains genuine knowledge written in a lost tongue. The manuscript now resides at Yale University, its secrets sealed behind script that resists all understanding. Some mysteries guard themselves. Stone spheres in Costa Rica were carved with perfect precision by an unknown civilization. Scattered across the Diquís Delta of Costa Rica lie more than 300 stone spheres, some as small as a few centimeters, others measuring over 2 meters in diameter and weighing nearly 16 tons. Carved from granodiorite, a hard igneous rock, these spheres were shaped with remarkable precision, their surfaces smooth and proportions nearly perfect. The civilization that created them left no written records, and the stones were moved from their original positions before archaeologists could study their arrangement. Some believe they marked astronomical alignments or served as symbols of power. Others suggest they were artistic expressions crafted over many generations using techniques now lost. The spheres remain among the most enigmatic artifacts of the pre-Columbian Americas, their purpose buried with those who made them. A medieval map shows Antarctica centuries before it was officially discovered. The Piri Reis map, drawn in 1513 by an Ottoman admiral, depicts the western coast of Africa, the eastern coast of South America, and what appears to be Antarctica, 3 centuries before that frozen continent was officially discovered. The map's creator noted he compiled it from earlier source maps, some dating to Alexander the Great. What puzzles researchers is that Antarctica's coastline is shown without ice, a state that has not existed for thousands of years. Some suggest this proves an advanced ancient civilization mapped the globe long before recorded history. Skeptics argue the southern landmass may represent a distorted South America or the theoretical terra australis that mapmakers included speculatively. Whether the Piri Reis map contains ancient knowledge or coincidental error remains debated. The ice keeps some truths frozen in time. And from these objects scattered across history, we now turn to strange phenomena that defied nature itself. In 1816, the entire summer disappeared, and snow fell in June across the northern hemisphere. The year 1816 is remembered as the year without a summer, when temperatures plummeted across Europe and North America during what should have been the warmest months. Snow fell in June, crops failed across the growing season, and famine spread to multiple continents. The cause was eventually traced to the eruption of Mount Tambora in Indonesia the previous year, which ejected massive quantities of ash into the stratosphere, blocking sunlight and cooling the climate. At the time, no one understood what was happening. Churches filled with frightened worshippers convinced the end had arrived. The cold drove Mary Shelley indoors that summer, where she wrote Frankenstein, a novel born from gloom. It took the modern age to connect a distant volcano to frozen fields. Nature's reach extends further than we imagine. The Tunguska event flattened 800 square miles of forest with no visible impact crater. On the morning of June 30th, 1908, something exploded above the Siberian wilderness near the Tunguska River with the force of 15 megatons, nearly 1,000 times more powerful than Hiroshima. The blast flattened 80 million trees across 800 square miles, knocked people off their feet hundreds of miles away, and lit up the night sky across Europe for several days. Yet when expeditions reached the site decades later, they found no crater and no meteor fragments. The leading explanation suggests an asteroid or comet exploded miles above the surface, its energy released entirely in the atmosphere. Without definitive proof, alternative theories persist, from antimatter to miniature black holes. The Tunguska event remains the largest impact event in recorded history, and the forest still bears silent scars. Ball lightning has been reported for centuries, but science still cannot fully explain it. For hundreds of years, Witnesses have described luminous spheres appearing during thunderstorms, drifting slowly through the air, passing through solid walls, and vanishing with a quiet pop or sudden explosion. These accounts come from ship logs, laboratory records, and eyewitnesses across every continent. Ball lightning appears to move with purpose, hovering at eye level or rolling gently along the ground before disappearing mysteriously. Scientists have proposed theories involving plasma vortices, silicon particles from lightning-struck soil, and microwave radiation, yet no explanation fully accounts for all observed behaviors. Some spheres have reportedly entered buildings through closed windows and left burn marks. Despite modern physics, this phenomenon remains at the edge of understanding, a reminder that even the atmosphere holds secrets. A dark day in New England turned noon into midnight, with no eclipse to explain it. On the 19th of May in 1780, the skies over New England darkened so completely that candles were lit at midday and startled night birds began to sing in confusion. The darkness spread steadily from Canada southward, turning the sun deep crimson red before it vanished entirely behind a heavy curtain of impenetrable gloom. People across the region feared the world was ending, churches filled with terrified worshippers, and cattle returned to their barns thinking night had fallen. The darkness lasted for many hours, followed by a night so utterly black that a hand held before the face could not be seen. Modern analysis suggests massive forest fires in Canada may have filled the atmosphere with smoke and ash, though no single fire could account for the scale. The event remains one of the most dramatic atmospheric anomalies in American history, a day when the sun itself refused to shine. Spontaneous human combustion has been recorded in cases where no fire source was ever found. Throughout history, accounts have emerged of people bursting into flames without any apparent ignition source, their bodies reduced to ash while nearby furnishings and furniture remained completely untouched. Victims are often found alone, their remains discovered by neighbors who notice smoke or an unusual smell drifting from the room. In many cases, extremities like hands or feet have survived while the torso was incinerated, a pattern that defies normal fire behavior. Scientists have proposed the wick effect, where clothing absorbs melted body fat and burns like a candle, yet this does not explain how fires start. Skeptics argue that cigarettes or hidden flames must have been present, but not all cases fit this explanation. Spontaneous combustion remains one of the most unsettling phenomena in forensic literature, a fire without a source. In 1770, a mysterious fog descended on London and refused to lift for months. In the summer of 1783, a dense sulphurous fog settled over England and much of Europe, lingering for weeks and bringing with it a strange metallic taste that hung in the air. The sun appeared blood-red through the haze, crops withered in the fields, and thousands died from respiratory illness. In London, the fog was so thick that navigation on the Thames became impossible, and those who ventured outside complained of burning eyes and painful breathing. The cause was eventually traced to the Laki volcanic eruption in Iceland, which released enormous quantities of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. Yet at the time, no one understood what was happening or when it would end. The Summer of Strange Fog remains one of Europe's most significant natural disasters, a reminder that distant eruptions can darken skies thousands of miles away. And from the fog and darkness of nature's strangest moments, we turn to tales of people who defied explanation. A man known as the Green Children of Woolpit appeared speaking an unknown language. In the 12th century, villagers near Woolpit in Suffolk discovered two children, a boy and a girl, with skin of an unmistakable green hue. They spoke no English, wearing strange clothing and refusing to eat anything but raw beans. The boy soon grew ill and died, but the girl survived, gradually losing her green color as she learned to eat other foods. When she finally learned English, she claimed the children had come from a land of perpetual twilight called St. Martin's Land, reached by following the sound of bells. Some historians suggest the children may have been Flemish immigrants suffering from chlorosis, a condition that can give skin a greenish tint. Others propose more fantastical explanations involving underground realms. The Green Children of Woolpit remain one of medieval England's strangest documented mysteries, a tale that seems to belong more to folklore than history. Caspar Hauser emerged from nowhere, claiming to have lived his entire life in a dark cell. On the 26th of May in 1828, a teenage boy appeared in the streets of Nuremberg, barely able to walk or speak, carrying a letter addressed to a cavalry captain. He claimed to have spent his entire life locked in a tiny dark cell, fed by a man he never saw, with no knowledge of the outside world. His strange story captivated all of Europe, and he was taken in by teachers and scholars who attempted to educate him. Theories about his origin ranged from royal heir to elaborate fraud. 5 years after his mysterious appearance, Caspar Hauser was stabbed in a park, dying from his wounds 3 days later. His killer was never identified, and whether he inflicted the wounds himself remains disputed to this day. His grave marker reads simply, "Here lies Caspar Hauser, riddle of his time, unknown birth, mysterious death." The man in the iron mask was imprisoned for decades, and his identity remains unknown. From 1669 until his death in 1703, a mysterious prisoner was held in various French prisons, his face always hidden behind a mask of dark black velvet. Guards were strictly forbidden to speak to him, and he was treated with unusual respect for a common prisoner, leading to widespread speculation that he was someone of great importance. Louis XIV personally ordered that if the prisoner ever attempted to speak about himself, he should be killed immediately. Theories about his identity have included the king's illegitimate brother, a disgraced minister, or even the real king himself, replaced by a double. Voltaire helped popularize the legend, and Alexandre Dumas later transformed it into enduring literary myth. Despite centuries of historical research, the true identity of the man in the iron mask has never been established. Some secrets die with their keepers. A princess named Anastasia may have survived the execution of the Romanov family. In July of 1918, the Russian royal family was executed by Bolshevik forces in the basement of a house in Yekaterinburg. The bodies were burned and buried in secret, but rumors immediately spread that one or more of the Tsar's children had somehow survived the terrible massacre. For decades, women appeared claiming to be Grand Duchess Anastasia, the youngest daughter, with some gathering devoted followers and sparking endless intrigue. The most famous claimant, Anna Anderson, spent her life insisting she was the lost princess, and her case was never definitively resolved during her lifetime. DNA testing eventually confirmed that all the Romanov children had perished that night, yet the legend persisted. The longing for a surviving princess speaks to something deep in human nature, a desire to believe someone escaped the darkness. A man called the Count of Saint-Germain claimed to be centuries old and was believed by royalty. Throughout the 18th century, a mysterious nobleman appeared in courts across Europe, charming kings and queens with tales of having lived for centuries. The Count of Saint-Germain spoke numerous languages fluently, demonstrated remarkable knowledge of history and science, and claimed to possess the secret of eternal life. He was received by Louis XV, worked on diplomatic missions, and vanished from one country only to appear in another under different names. No one knew his true origin or age, and accounts of his death were followed by reported sightings decades later. Some believed he was an alchemist who had discovered the philosopher's stone. Modern historians suggest he was simply a brilliant confidence trickster who played his role with perfect consistency. Whether charlatan or immortal, the Count of Saint-Germain remains one of history's most compelling enigmas. Joan of Arc heard voices that guided her to victory, and historians still debate their origin. In the early 15th century, a peasant girl from Lorraine claimed to hear the voices of saints instructing her to lead the French army against English invaders. Despite having no military training, Joan of Arc convinced the Dauphin to give her command of forces, lifted the siege of Orleans, and helped crown him King of France. Her tactical instincts proved remarkably sound, and her presence inspired soldiers who had suffered years of defeat. Captured by Burgundian forces, she was tried for heresy and burned at the stake at just 19 years old. Modern analysis has suggested epilepsy, schizophrenia, or bovine tuberculosis as explanations for her visions, yet none fully account for her strategic success. Whether divine messenger or psychological anomaly, Joan of Arc changed the course of European history through voices only she could hear. And from these mysterious figures, we turn to places where reality itself seemed to bend. The Devil's Sea near Japan has witnessed disappearances that mirror the Bermuda Triangle. The waters south of Japan, sometimes called the Dragon's Triangle, have claimed ships and aircraft under mysterious circumstances for centuries. Japanese fishermen avoided the area, believing sea dragons dwelt beneath the waves and pulled vessels into the depths. In the 1950s, multiple fishing boats vanished without distress signals, prompting the government to send a research vessel to investigate. That ship, the Kayo Maru No. 5, also disappeared with all 22 crew members and 9 scientists aboard. No wreckage or bodies were ever recovered. Skeptics attribute the losses to volcanic activity and methane eruptions from the seabed, which could sink ships rapidly by reducing water density. Yet the parallels to the Bermuda Triangle persist in the popular imagination. Whether cursed ground or merely dangerous waters, the Devil's Sea remains a place sailors treat with respect. A staircase in New Mexico was built with no visible means of support and no known builder. Inside the Loreto Chapel in Santa Fe stands a wooden spiral staircase that has puzzled architects and engineers for over a century. Completed in 1878 to connect the choir loft to the main floor, the staircase makes 2 complete 360-degree turns without a central support beam or visible means of bearing its own weight. The nuns who commissioned the chapel claimed a mysterious carpenter appeared, completed the work using only a hammer, saw, and water tank, and vanished without payment before they could thank him. The wood was later identified as a rare spruce not native to New Mexico, with no record of its importation. Engineers who have studied the structure note its unusual construction techniques and precise joinery. Whether miracle or masterpiece of forgotten craft, the staircase stands as a monument to mystery. The Overtown Bridge in Scotland has drawn dogs to leap from its edge for 70 years. Since the 1950s, dozens of dogs have leaped from the same spot on Overtown Bridge near Dumbarton in Scotland, often to their deaths on the rocks below. The dogs that survive sometimes return to the bridge and jump again. Local residents have reported their previously calm pets suddenly pulling toward the parapet with unexplained urgency. Theories have ranged from supernatural influence to ultrasonic sounds emanating from the gorge below. Animal behaviorists suggest mink scent rising from the undergrowth may attract hunting breeds, though this fails to explain why the phenomenon centers on one specific section of the bridge. The estate surrounding the bridge has its own dark history, including a reported murder and tales of spectral figures. Whatever draws these animals to jump, the Overtown Bridge has earned its reputation as one of Scotland's most unsettling places. A door in a Peruvian mountainside appears to lead nowhere, yet locals call it a gateway. Carved into the red rock of Hayumarca in Peru stands a doorway that opens onto solid stone. Known as the Aramu Muru, or the Gate of the Gods, this precisely cut rectangular entrance measures 7 meters in height and width, with a smaller alcove at its center, just large enough for a person to stand within. Local legends speak of a priest who fled the Spanish conquest, carrying a golden disc that allowed him to pass through the door and disappear forever. Some believe it marks a portal to another dimension used by ancient civilizations. Geologists note the region's unusual magnetic properties, while archaeologists suggest it may have been the uncompleted entrance to a tomb. The door has never been opened, and nothing lies beyond but mountain. Yet pilgrims still come to stand in its alcove, wondering what ancient hands carved it and why. The Hoia Baciu forest in Romania is known for strange disappearances and unexplained lights. On the outskirts of Cluj-Napoca in Romania lies a forest that locals have feared for generations. The Hoia Baciu is named after a shepherd who allegedly entered with 200 sheep and was never seen again. Visitors have reported sudden feelings of anxiety, nausea, and the sensation of being watched. Photographs taken within the woods have captured unexplained lights and shapes that were not visible to the naked eye. Trees grow in twisted spirals, and a circular clearing at the heart of the forest shows no vegetation at all, despite having no obvious explanation for its barrenness. Some believe the forest marks a gateway between worlds, while others suggest natural magnetic anomalies disturb both plant growth and human perception. Whether haunted ground or misunderstood ecosystem, Hoia Baciu remains one of Europe's most eerie landscapes. The zone of silence in Mexico disrupts radio signals and compasses with no clear cause. In the Chihuahuan Desert of northern Mexico lies an area where radio signals fail, compasses spin without reason, and electronics malfunction without explanation. Known as the Zone of Silence, this patch of desert gained attention in 1970 when a test missile launched from White Sands went off course and crashed there. Recovery teams found their equipment inexplicably malfunctioning. Locals have long reported strange lights in the sky and unusual meteorite activity in the region. Some theorists suggest underground iron deposits create magnetic anomalies, while others point to the area's alignment with the Bermuda Triangle and the Egyptian pyramids along the same latitude. Scientific studies have failed to confirm consistent signal disruption, leading some to dismiss the zone as folklore. Yet the stories persist, and the desert keeps its silence. And from these strange lands, we turn to sounds that echoed through history without explanation. The bloop, recorded in 1997, was louder than any known animal could produce. In 1997, underwater microphones maintained by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recorded an ultra-low frequency sound emanating from the remote South Pacific. Dubbed the bloop, it was one of the loudest underwater sounds ever detected, audible across sensors more than 5,000 kilometers apart. The sound's profile suggested it came from a living creature, yet it was far louder than any known whale or marine animal could produce. For years, speculation ranged from giant undiscovered squid to unknown deep-sea organisms. In 2012, scientists concluded the bloop was most likely produced by ice breaking from an Antarctic glacier and scraping along the ocean floor. Yet the original mystery captured imaginations worldwide, a reminder of how little we know about the sounds echoing through the depths of the ocean. The hum is a low-frequency sound heard worldwide, yet its source has never been found. Since the 1970s, people in various parts of the world have reported hearing a persistent low-frequency hum that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere at all. Known simply as the hum, it has been documented in Taos in New Mexico, Bristol in England, and Windsor in Canada, among many other locations around the globe. Only a small percentage of the population can hear it, and those who do often describe it as maddening, a droning that interferes with sleep and concentration. Studies have investigated industrial equipment, power lines, ocean currents, and even tinnitus as potential sources. No single explanation has accounted for all reported instances across the globe. The hum continues to torment its listeners while remaining inaudible to others standing in the same room. It is a sound that exists only for those cursed to hear it. The wow signal arrived from space in 1977 and has never been repeated. On the 15th of August in 1977, astronomer Jerry Amon was reviewing data from Ohio State University's Big Ear Radio Telescope when he discovered a signal unlike anything previously recorded. Lasting 72 seconds and originating from the direction of the constellation Sagittarius, the signal was so unusual that Amon circled it on the printout and wrote the word "wow" in the margin. The signal was 30 times stronger than background cosmic noise and matched the theoretical signature of extraterrestrial communication. Despite decades of searching, the signal has never been detected again. Some suggest it was a one-time transmission from an alien civilization, while others propose it reflected off space debris or originated from an Earth-based source. The wow signal remains one of the strongest candidates for evidence of intelligent life beyond our planet. Strange trumpet sounds were reported across the sky in 2011, baffling witnesses. In 2011, videos began appearing online from locations around the world, each recording strange metallic sounds descending from the sky. Described as trumpets, groaning metal, or horns, these sounds were reported in Canada, Ukraine, Germany, and the United States, among other countries. Witnesses recorded the eerie noise, which seemed to come from everywhere at once, often lasting several minutes. Some believed the sounds were seismic in origin, created by tectonic shifting or underground caves. Others suggested they were industrial noise bouncing through atmospheric conditions. A significant number of individuals linked the sounds to biblical prophecy. While some recordings have been debunked as hoaxes, others remain unexplained. Whether natural phenomenon or collective delusion, the sky trumpets of 2011 became one of the decade's most unusual mysteries. And as you drift through these mysteries, allow the weight of your thoughts to dissolve. Notice the rhythm of your breathing, slow and steady, and let each exhale carry you further into rest. There is nothing to solve tonight, only stillness to embrace. A man named Moberly and Jourdain claimed to have slipped back in time at Versailles. In 1901, two English academics visiting the Palace of Versailles experienced something neither could explain. Charlotte Ann Moberly and Elena Jourdain walked through the gardens and encountered figures in old-fashioned clothing, a woman sketching by the Petit Trianon, and an atmosphere of deep melancholy. Both later reported feeling as though they had stepped into another era. Upon researching their experience, they concluded they had somehow witnessed the gardens as they appeared in 1789 during the final days of Marie Antoinette. Their account, published as an adventure, sparked debate that continues to this day. Skeptics suggest the women simply encountered actors from a costume party or misremembered ordinary details. Yet both maintained their story until their deaths, certain they had brushed against another time. The Philadelphia experiment allegedly rendered a naval ship invisible, with strange consequences. According to legend, in October of 1943, the U.S. Navy conducted an experiment aboard the USS Eldridge in the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard that went horribly wrong. The goal was to render the destroyer escort invisible to radar, but witnesses claimed the ship vanished entirely from view, reappeared briefly in Norfolk, Virginia, over 200 miles away, and then returned to Philadelphia with crew members fused to the hull or driven mad by the experience. The Navy has consistently denied any such experiment took place, stating no records of such a project exist. The story gained traction through the writings of Morris Jessup, a researcher who received letters from a man claiming to have witnessed the event. Whether military secrecy, elaborate hoax, or distorted memory, the Philadelphia experiment has become one of the most persistent legends of secret government research. A pilot vanished over Lake Michigan in 1978, and neither he nor his plane was found. On the 21st of October in 1978, Frederick Valentich was flying a Cessna light aircraft over Bass Strait near Australia when he radioed Melbourne Air Traffic Control to report an unidentified craft hovering directly above him. He described the object as large with 4 bright lights, moving at speeds no conventional aircraft could match and circling his plane repeatedly. His final transmission included the words that it is not an aircraft before his radio went suddenly silent. Neither Valentich nor his plane were ever found despite extensive searches across land and sea. Theories have ranged from deliberate disappearance to fatal disorientation and crash, while others point to the unexplained nature of his final frantic radio contact. The case remains one of the most puzzling aviation mysteries in Australian history, an ordinary flight that ended in silence. Time slips have been reported at Bold Street in Liverpool for over a century. For decades, visitors to Bold Street in Liverpool have reported stepping briefly and inexplicably into the past. Accounts describe shoppers entering modern stores only to find themselves surrounded by fashions and products from the 1950s or earlier, complete with period-appropriate staff and music playing from old radios. Some have described the sensation as walking through an invisible barrier, followed by a sudden shift in the atmosphere around them. Upon leaving the store or turning a corner, the present moment returns as abruptly as it vanished. No scientific explanation has accounted for these persistent reports. Whether collective hallucination, localized distortion of time, or simply urban legend, Bold Street has earned its reputation as one of England's most reliable locations for alleged time slips. The past seems to blade through more easily there. The Moberly-Jourdain incident remains one of the most documented cases of temporal displacement. The account published by Moberly and Jourdain in 1911 sparked immediate controversy and has never been satisfactorily explained. Both women were respected academics, and their descriptions of the figures they encountered matched historical records they could not have known. The woman sketching near the Petit Trianon matched descriptions of Marie Antoinette herself, while other details aligned with documented features of the 18th century gardens now long altered. Critics have proposed explanations ranging from shared delusion to unconscious absorption of historical knowledge. Yet neither woman ever wavered in her testimony, and no evidence of deception was ever found. The Moberly-Jourdain incident remains a touchstone for those who believe time is not as fixed as physics suggests. Perhaps the past is closer than we imagine. And from slips through time, we turn to the dead who perhaps did not stay silent. The Enfield poltergeist case was witnessed by police officers and remains unexplained. Between 1977 and 1978, a council house in Enfield became the center of one of Britain's most thoroughly investigated poltergeist cases. The Hodgson family reported furniture moving on its own, objects flying across rooms, and knocking sounds that followed no rational pattern. Most disturbingly, their 11-year-old daughter Janet appeared to speak in a deep male voice, claiming to be a man who had died in the house years before. Police officers, journalists, and professional paranormal researchers witnessed phenomena they could not explain. Skeptics noted that some events occurred only when children were present, suggesting possible trickery. Yet even the most rigorous investigators acknowledged incidents they could not account for. The Enfield case remains one of the most documented and most contested hauntings in modern history. A photograph taken at Raynham Hall captured what appears to be a floating figure. In 1936, two professional photographers from Country Life magazine set up their equipment on the grand staircase of Raynham Hall in Norfolk to capture the historic house's elegant interior. When the photograph was developed in the darkroom, it revealed a transparent figure descending the stairs, shrouded in what appeared to be a flowing veil. The image became known as the Brown Lady, believed to be the ghost of Lady Dorothy Walpole, who died in the 18th century under mysterious circumstances, allegedly imprisoned by her husband. The photographers swore they had seen nothing unusual while taking the shot. Experts who examined the original negative found no evidence of tampering or double exposure. While modern analysis suggests possible camera malfunction, the Raynham Hall photograph remains one of the most famous and scrutinized ghost images ever captured. The Tower of London has reported sightings of Anne Boleyn for nearly 5 centuries. Since the 16th century, guards, visitors, and residents of the Tower of London have reported seeing the ghost of Anne Boleyn, the second wife of Henry VIII, who was beheaded within its ancient walls in 1536. Witnesses describe a headless figure in a grey dress walking near the chapel of St. Peter ad Vincula, where her remains were hastily buried in an unmarked grave after her execution. Some accounts describe her appearing with her head tucked beneath her arm, while others report only a pale, translucent figure gliding silently through the dark corridors at night. The tower has a long and terrible history of executions and imprisonment, and many other spirits are said to wander its grounds. Yet Anne Boleyn remains its most famous spectral resident, a condemned queen who perhaps refuses to leave the place of her death. Lincoln's funeral train has allegedly been seen traveling its route on the anniversary of his death. Following the assassination of Abraham Lincoln in 1865, a funeral train carried his body from Washington to his home in Springfield, Illinois, stopping in cities along the way so mourners could pay their respects to the fallen president. Legend holds that every year on the anniversary of that solemn journey, a spectral train travels the same route, passing silently through stations where crowds once gathered in grief. Witnesses have claimed to see the black-draped locomotive and its accompanying funeral cars drifting past railway crossings without making a sound. Clocks reportedly stop as the phantom train passes and the air grows cold. Whether grief imprinted itself upon the landscape or the stories grew from collective memory, Lincoln's ghost train has become one of America's most enduring supernatural legends. Some journeys never truly end. The Winchester Mystery House was built in endless construction to appease restless spirits. Sarah Winchester, wealthy heir to the Winchester rifle fortune, believed she was haunted by the spirits of those killed by her family's weapons. Following advice from a spiritualist medium, she began continuous construction on her California mansion in 1884, adding rooms, staircases, and corridors without end in an attempt to confuse the restless ghosts pursuing her. Construction continued 24 hours a day for 38 years until her death in 1922. The house now contains over 160 rooms, staircases leading to ceilings, doors opening onto walls, and windows overlooking other rooms. Whether madness, guilt, or genuine belief drove her endless building remains debated. The Winchester Mystery House stands as a monument to a woman who built ceaselessly against forces only she could see. And from those restless echoes, we now turn to ancient constructions that defy modern understanding. The Great Pyramid of Giza aligns with true north with an accuracy that puzzles engineers today. The Great Pyramid of Giza was constructed over 4,500 years ago, yet it aligns with true north to within 3/60ths of a single degree, a precision that modern engineers struggle to replicate without satellite technology. Its base is nearly perfectly level across 13 acres, varying by less than 2 centimeters. The stones, some weighing 70 tons, were quarried miles away and fitted together so precisely that a sheet of paper cannot slip between them. How ancient builders achieved such accuracy without modern tools remains hotly debated. Theories range from advanced lost knowledge to divine inspiration, while mainstream archaeology credits meticulous observation of stars and dedication across decades. Whether the pyramid holds secrets of forgotten science or simply represents the pinnacle of human determination, it stands as a mystery carved in stone. Puma Punku's stone blocks were cut with precision that seems impossible for the era. High in the Bolivian Andes lie the ruins of Puma Punku, a temple complex containing massive stone blocks that appear to have been cut with machine-like precision. Some blocks weigh over 100 tons and feature perfectly straight edges, uniform grooves, and precisely drilled holes that seem far beyond ancient capability. The Tiwanaku civilization that built the site had no written language and is believed to have lacked metal tools capable of shaping such hard volcanic stone. How these blocks were quarried, transported up the mountain, and fitted together with such accuracy remains unknown. Mainstream theories suggest extensive labor forces using bronze tools and precise planning over generations. Others believe the site reveals knowledge lost to history or assistance from sources yet unexplained. Puma Punku continues to challenge our understanding of what ancient peoples could achieve. Stonehenge's blue stones were transported from Wales, over 150 miles away. The inner ring of Stonehenge contains blue stones weighing up to 4 tons each, quarried from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 150 miles away across rugged countryside. Moving such massive stones across rugged terrain, rivers, and hills would have been an extraordinary undertaking for a Neolithic society without wheels or draft animals. Recent discoveries suggest the stones may have first been erected at a Welsh site before being transported to Salisbury Plain, adding another layer of mystery to an already puzzling monument. Why these particular stones were so important that they justified such enormous effort remains unknown. Some theories propose they held healing properties or sacred significance connected to their place of origin. Stonehenge stands as a monument to an intention we can only guess at, built by ancestors whose reasons died with them. The Nazca Lines can only be seen from above, raising questions about who they were made for. Etched into the desert floor of southern Peru are hundreds of enormous geoglyphs depicting animals, plants, and geometric shapes, some stretching over 300 meters in length. The Nazca Lines were created by removing the reddish pebbles of the desert surface to reveal the lighter ground beneath, a technique that has preserved them for nearly 2,000 years in the arid climate. What makes them remarkable is that their true forms can only be appreciated from high above, at altitudes the Nazca people could not reach. Theories range from ceremonial pathways to astronomical calendars to messages intended for gods in the sky. Some have suggested they were landing markers for spacecraft, though no evidence supports this interpretation. The Nazca Lines remain a testament to devotion and vision, created by people who could never see what they had made. Göbekli Tepe predates Stonehenge by 6,000 years and was deliberately buried. In southeastern Turkey lies a site that has completely rewritten the timeline of human civilization. Göbekli Tepe consists of massive stone pillars arranged in circles, decorated with intricate carvings of animals and abstract symbols, dating to approximately 10,000 BCE, 6,000 years before Stonehenge was built. At this time, humans were believed to be nomadic hunter-gatherers without the social organization necessary to build permanent monuments. Yet someone constructed this complex, carved its pillars, and then deliberately buried it around 8000 BCE, preserving it beneath tons of earth. Why they buried what must have taken generations to build remains unknown. Göbekli Tepe challenges our assumptions about what early humans could accomplish and what motivated them to create something they would then choose to hide. The Longyu caves in China were carved by hand with no historical record of their creation. In 1992, a farmer draining a small pond in Zhejiang province uncovered a series of massive artificial caverns that no historical record had ever mentioned. The Longyu caves consist of at least 36 enormous chambers carved into solid sandstone, with walls covered in precise parallel chisel marks that suggest systematic and careful excavation. The largest chambers reach heights of over 30 meters, supported by pillars carved from the living rock. Estimated to have been carved over 2,000 years ago, these caves required the removal of nearly 1 million cubic meters of stone, yet no records of their construction or purpose have been found. Local legends speak of nothing that accounts for their existence. Whether they served as quarries, shelters, or ceremonial spaces, the Longyu caves remain one of China's most baffling archaeological mysteries. And from these ancient marvels, we turn to coded messages and secrets never solved. The Beale ciphers promise buried treasure, but no one has cracked all the codes. In 1885, a pamphlet was published containing 3 coded messages allegedly left by a man named Thomas Beale, who claimed to have buried a fortune in gold, silver, and jewels in Bedford County, Virginia, decades earlier. One of the 3 ciphers was eventually cracked using the Declaration of Independence as a key, revealing a description of the treasure and its immense value. The other 2 ciphers, which purportedly reveal the exact location and the names of the treasure's rightful heirs, have never been solved despite over a century of attempts by professional and amateur cryptographers alike. Some believe the entire story is an elaborate hoax designed to sell pamphlets. Others continue to search the Virginia hills, convinced that riches await whoever can break the code. The Beale ciphers remain an unsolved puzzle wrapped in the promise of gold. The Zodiac Killer's final cipher remained unsolved for over 50 years. Between 1968 and 1974, a serial killer terrorized the San Francisco Bay Area of Northern California, taunting police with cryptic letters and cryptograms sent to local newspapers. The Zodiac Killer claimed responsibility for at least 7 murders and challenged the public to decode his twisted ciphers. Most of the ciphers were eventually solved, revealing disturbing messages about killing. However, one cipher consisting of 340 characters remained unbroken for over 50 years, baffling professionals and amateurs alike. In 2020, a team of amateur codebreakers finally cracked it, revealing a message that provided no new clues to the killer's identity. The Zodiac was never caught, and despite occasional claims of breakthroughs, his true name remains unknown. The case stands as a chilling reminder that some killers take their secrets to the grave. The Somerton man died with a torn page from a rare book and a code in his pocket. On the 1st of December in 1948, the body of an unidentified man was found propped against a seawall on Somerton Beach in Adelaide, Australia, as morning swimmers began to arrive. He carried no identification, and labels had been carefully removed from all his clothing. In his pocket was a scrap of paper torn from a rare edition of the Rubaiyat of Omar Khayyam, bearing the Persian words Tamam Shud, meaning it is ended. The book from which the page was torn was eventually located and found to contain a handwritten code that has never been deciphered despite decades of analysis. Theories have ranged from Cold War espionage to tragic love affair. DNA testing continues to seek matches, but the man's identity and the circumstances of his death remain unknown. The Somerton man died carrying a message no one has ever been able to understand. The Shugborough inscription has puzzled codebreakers since the 18th century. On the grounds of Shugborough Hall in Staffordshire stands a stone monument bearing a carved relief of a Nicolas Poussin painting, and beneath it, 8 letters carved into the stone that no one has ever been able to explain. The sequence reads OUOSVAVV, with the letters D and M set slightly below the others on either side. Since the 18th century, scholars, code breakers, and amateur enthusiasts have attempted to decipher the inscription without success. Theories have linked it to the Holy Grail, to Freemasonic secrets, and to hidden messages about treasure or religious doctrine. Others believe it may simply be a memorial inscription or initials of family members arranged decoratively. The Shugborough inscription continues to resist interpretation, a quiet puzzle carved in stone for those who cannot resist the call of a mystery. The Dore Bella cipher, written by Edward Elgar, has never been deciphered. In 1897, the renowned English composer Edward Elgar sent a letter to a young friend named Dora Penny containing 87 symbols arranged in 3 lines that resemble no known alphabet. The cipher, later known as the Dore Bella cipher after her nickname, has never been deciphered despite over a century of dedicated attempts by cryptographers, musicians, and Elgar enthusiasts around the world. Theories about its meaning range from a simple love note to a musical composition to an elaborate joke with no solution at all. Elgar was known for his love of puzzles and cryptography, and some believe he may have created a cipher with no intended solution. Dora Penny herself never claimed to have understood it, and it remained a mystery until her death. The Dore Bella cipher stands as a reminder that some messages are written not to be read, but to intrigue. A manuscript called the Voynich Codex is written in an unknown script that defies translation. Housed in the Hungarian Academy of Sciences is a manuscript of nearly 450 pages filled with text in an unknown script and hand-drawn illustrations depicting religious scenes, everyday activities, and historical battles. The Voynich Codex has defied translation since its discovery in the 19th century, with scholars unable to determine its language, its author, its origin, or its purpose. Some have proposed it was written in Hungarian, Latin, or an early form of Romany, while others suggest it may be an elaborate hoax crafted to deceive collectors. The illustrations show Christian, Islamic, and pagan imagery side by side, adding to the mystery of its origin. No code has been cracked, and no source language has been confirmed. The Voynich Codex remains unread, its pages full of meaning that no one has been able to unlock. And from codes left without answers, we now turn to mass events that no one could explain. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic spread through schools in 1962 with no clear cause. In January of 1962, 3 girls at a boarding school in Tanganyika began laughing and could not stop. Within hours, the laughter spread to nearly 100 students, forcing the school to close temporarily. Over the following months, the epidemic reappeared in surrounding villages, affecting around 1,000 people and closing 14 schools. Symptoms included crying, screaming, restlessness, and random running, lasting from hours to weeks. Medical examinations found no infectious cause, and no toxin or environmental factor was ever identified. The most accepted explanation is mass psychogenic illness, triggered by stress in a region experiencing rapid social change following independence. The Tanganyika laughter epidemic remains one of the most striking examples of how emotions can spread like contagion without any physical source. Thousands reported seeing the same floating lights over Phoenix in 1997. On the evening of the 13th of March in 1997, thousands of people across Arizona witnessed a formation of lights moving silently across the sky. The Phoenix Lights, as they became known, appeared as a V-shaped pattern stretching over a mile wide and were reported by witnesses from Nevada to Tucson. The governor initially dismissed the sightings with a press conference featuring a man in an alien costume, but later admitted he had seen the lights himself. The U.S. Air Force attributed the lights to flares dropped during a training exercise, though many witnesses insisted the objects moved in formation and made no sound. Skeptics and believers have debated the event ever since, and no explanation has satisfied everyone. The Phoenix Lights remain one of the most widely witnessed unidentified aerial phenomena in modern history. A mass fainting event in a Belgian school was blamed on contaminated soft drinks, but tests found nothing. In June of 1999, dozens of students at a Belgian school suddenly fell ill, complaining of headaches, nausea, and dizziness after drinking Coca-Cola from vending machines on the premises. Within days, similar reports emerged from schools across Belgium and France, affecting over 100 people and causing widespread alarm. Coca-Cola recalled millions of bottles and cans, suffering one of the largest product withdrawals in its history. Yet extensive laboratory testing found no contamination, and no toxin was ever identified. Investigators concluded the outbreak was likely mass psychogenic illness, triggered by an unusual odor on some bottles that had no actual harmful effect. The Belgian Coca-Cola crisis demonstrated how fear and suggestion can produce real physical symptoms in groups. Sometimes the body believes what the mind fears. And as you rest here, surrounded by the stillness of the night, let these mysteries become distant echoes. Feel the softness of where you lie, the warmth that holds you, and allow yourself to drift a little further from waking thought. There is only this moment, and it is calm. The miracle of the sun was witnessed by 70,000 people in Fatima in 1917. On the 13th of October in 1917, a crowd estimated at 70,000 gathered in the small Portuguese town of Fatima after 3 shepherd children claimed the Virgin Mary would perform a miracle. What happened next was witnessed by believers and skeptics alike. The sun appeared to spin, change colors, and zigzag across the sky before seeming to plunge toward the earth, only to return to its normal position. Newspapers of the time, including secular ones, reported the event and the mass reaction of terror and wonder it provoked. Explanations have ranged from atmospheric phenomena to mass hallucination to divine intervention. The Catholic Church later declared the apparitions worthy of belief, though it did not officially confirm the miracle's cause. Whether spiritual event or shared illusion, Fatima remains one of the most documented mass visions in history. In 1886, a town in Pennsylvania began burning underground and has never stopped. In 1862, a fire broke out in an abandoned coal mine beneath the small town of Centralia, Pennsylvania, and it has never stopped burning. Despite numerous attempts to extinguish it over the following decades, the fire spread through the vast network of underground mines, releasing toxic gases and causing the ground to collapse without warning. By the 1980s, most residents had been relocated, and the town was officially condemned. Today, Centralia is nearly abandoned, with only a handful of stubborn residents refusing to leave. Steam and smoke still rise from cracks in the earth, and sections of highway buckle from the heat below. The fire is estimated to have enough coal to burn for another 250 years. Centralia stands as a monument to a blaze that could not be stopped, a slow disaster that outlived the town. A mass sighting of airships was reported across America in 1896. In the autumn of 1896, newspapers across the United States began publishing reports of mysterious airships seen floating through the night skies. Witnesses from California to Ohio described cigar-shaped craft with bright lights, some claiming to have spoken with their pilots. The sightings continued for months, sparking theories about secret inventors, visitors from other worlds, and mass delusion. No one ever came forward as the creator of these vessels, and no wreckage was ever found. Some historians believe the reports were a combination of hoaxes, misidentified celestial events, and journalistic exaggeration during an era of rapid technological change. Others suggest something genuinely unusual was seen. The Great Airship Wave of 1896 remains one of the earliest widespread unidentified aerial phenomena in American history. And from these mass sightings, we turn to crimes and deaths that remain without resolution. Jack the Ripper's identity has been debated for over a century, with no definitive answer. In the autumn of 1888, a series of brutal murders terrorized the Whitechapel district of London, killing at least 5 women in a matter of weeks in one of the most notorious crime sprees in history. The killer, dubbed Jack the Ripper by the press, was never identified despite massive police investigations and public outcry. Letters sent to newspapers, some believed to be genuine and others hoaxes, taunted investigators and added to the legend. Theories about the Ripper's identity have included members of the royal family, surgeons, sailors, and local tradesmen. Modern forensic analysis and documentary research have produced new suspects, yet none has been proven definitively. The case remains officially unsolved, and Jack the Ripper has become the archetype of the unknown killer. Some mysteries become more powerful for remaining unsolved. The Hinterkaifeck murders were committed in an isolated German farm, with no suspect ever found. On the 31st of March in 1922, a maid arriving at the remote Hinterkaifeck farm in Bavaria discovered the bodies of 6 people, including 2 young children, who had been brutally killed with a mattock several days earlier. Evidence suggested the killer had remained on the property after the murders, eating food and tending to the animals as if nothing had happened. The previous maid had quit months earlier, claiming she heard footsteps in the attic and believed the house was haunted. Neighbors reported seeing footprints in the snow leading to the farm, but none leading away. Despite extensive investigation, no suspect was ever charged, and the case remains open to this day. The Hinterkaifeck murders have haunted German crime history for a century, a family destroyed by someone who simply vanished into the countryside. The Black Dahlia case remains one of Hollywood's most haunting unsolved crimes. On the morning of the 15th of January in 1947, a woman walking through a quiet Los Angeles neighborhood discovered the body of Elizabeth Short, a young aspiring actress, severed at the waist and completely drained of blood. The case became known as the Black Dahlia murder, named after the dark flowers the victim reportedly wore in her hair. The killer had posed the body with disturbing precision, and taunting letters were sent to newspapers in the weeks that followed. Despite one of the largest investigations in Los Angeles history, involving hundreds of officers and thousands of interviews, no suspect was ever charged. Theories have implicated doctors, filmmakers, and even relatives, yet the case remains officially unsolved. The Black Dahlia has become a symbol of Hollywood's dark underbelly, a young woman whose dream ended in a crime no one has ever explained. The Dyatlov Pass incident left 9 hikers dead under circumstances that defy explanation. In February of 1959, 9 young hikers set out on a skiing expedition through the northern Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. Weeks later, their bodies were found scattered across the snowy slope, some half-dressed, some with severe internal injuries, and one missing her tongue. Their tent had been cut open from the inside, and footprints suggested they had fled into the freezing night. Soviet investigators concluded the group had died from a compelling natural force, but offered no further explanation. Theories have ranged from avalanches to military testing, to infrasound-induced panic. A 2019 Russian investigation blamed an avalanche, though some researchers remain unconvinced. The Dyatlov Pass incident has become one of the most debated mysteries of the 20th century, a night of terror that left no survivors to tell what happened. The death of Edgar Allan Poe remains shrouded in mystery to this day. On the 3rd of October in 1849, Edgar Allan Poe was found delirious on the streets of Baltimore, wearing clothes that were not his own and unable to explain how he had arrived there or what had happened to him. He was taken to a hospital where he drifted in and out of consciousness for days, reportedly calling out for someone named Reynolds, a name that has never been satisfactorily identified by historians or biographers. He died 4 days later without ever regaining coherence or clarity. No autopsy was performed, and his medical records have long since been lost to time. Theories about his death include alcohol poisoning, rabies, brain tumor, and foul play related to voter fraud schemes common in the era. The author who wrote so vividly of death met an end as mysterious as any of his dark tales. Poe took his final secret with him into the night. The Tamman Shud case has puzzled investigators for over 70 years. The Tamman Shud case, also known as the Somerton Man mystery, has confounded investigators since 1948, when an unidentified man in a fine suit was found dead on an Australian beach at dawn. A scrap of paper hidden in a secret pocket of his trousers bore the Persian words meaning "it is finished," torn from a rare edition of a poetry book. That book, when eventually found in an unlocked car nearby, contained an undeciphered code scrawled in pencil and a phone number linked to a nurse who firmly denied ever knowing him. DNA analysis conducted in recent decades has produced possible relatives, yet definitive identification of the man remains elusive to this day. Was he a spy, a spurned lover, or simply a stranger who chose a quiet beach to end his life? The Tamman Shud case endures because it offers so many questions and almost no answers. Some identities are simply lost forever. And from these unsolved deaths, we turn to predictions and prophecies that seem to come true. The sinking of the Titanic was described in a novel written 14 years before it happened. In 1898, a novella called Futility was published describing the maiden voyage of an enormous ocean liner named Titan, deemed unsinkable, which struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic on an April night and sank with massive loss of life due to insufficient lifeboats. 14 years later, the Titanic met almost exactly the same fate, matching details of size, speed, passenger capacity, and even the very month of disaster. The author, Morgan Robertson, claimed he had simply imagined a plausible scenario based on trends in shipbuilding at the time. Others have suggested precognition or access to insider information about ship design. Whether coincidence or glimpse of the future, Futility remains one of the most striking examples of fiction seemingly predicting actual reality. Some stories are written before history catches up. A man named Morgan Robertson wrote of an unsinkable ship named Titan that struck an iceberg. Morgan Robertson was a struggling American writer with considerable seafaring experience when he published his short novel about the Titan, a magnificent ship destroyed by hubris and an iceberg in the cold Atlantic waters. The parallels to the Titanic disaster 14 years later were so strikingly precise that some accused him of having foreknowledge, though no evidence of any connection to the White Star Line has ever been found by researchers. Robertson maintained that his story was based purely on logical extrapolation of contemporary shipbuilding trends. He died in 1915, just 3 years after the Titanic sank, having achieved notoriety for a prediction he never claimed to have made. His story raises uncomfortable questions about coincidence and the mysterious nature of imagination. Perhaps some minds see further than others into futures they cannot explain. Mark Twain predicted the year of his own death, linking it to the return of Halley's Comet. Samuel Clemens, known to the world as Mark Twain, was born in 1835 during one of Halley's Comet's closest approaches to Earth, and he was well aware of this celestial connection throughout his life. He often remarked that he had come in with the comet and fully expected to go out with it when it returned. In 1910, the comet returned once more, visible in the night sky for weeks as it swept past the inner solar system. Twain died of a heart attack on the 21st of April, one day after the comet reached its closest point to the sun. Whether this was merely coincidence or a self-fulfilling prophecy remains unknown, but Twain's prediction added to his legend as a man who understood the strange workings of fate. He had written about the human condition with wit and profound insight, and in the end, he wrote his own exit with celestial punctuation. Abraham Lincoln reportedly dreamed of his own assassination days before it occurred. According to accounts from those close to him, Abraham Lincoln told friends and trusted advisors of a vivid dream he had experienced shortly before his assassination in 1865. In the dream, he walked through the silent halls of the White House and found a corpse lying in state, guarded by solemn soldiers. When he asked who had died, a soldier replied that it was the president, killed by an assassin's bullet. Lincoln reportedly dismissed the dream as merely unsettling, yet days later, John Wilkes Booth shot him at Ford's Theater during a performance. The story was recorded by his bodyguard and others who heard him tell it, lending it credibility beyond mere legend. Whether the mind can glimpse its own end remains one of the deepest questions of human experience. Lincoln's dream haunts history as a warning that went unheeded. The prophecies of Nostradamus have been studied for centuries with no consensus on their meaning. In 1555, a French apothecary named Michel de Nostradame published a collection of prophecies written in cryptic quatrains that have been studied, debated, and reinterpreted for nearly 5 centuries by scholars and enthusiasts alike. His followers claim he predicted the Great Fire of London, the French Revolution, the rise of Napoleon and Hitler, and countless other major events in human history. Skeptics argue that his verses are so vague they can be fitted to almost any historical event with sufficient imagination and hindsight. Nostradamus offered no clear timeline and favored symbolism over specifics, making definitive interpretation impossible. Whether prophet or clever poet, his work continues to fascinate those who believe the future can be seen. His verses remain a mirror in which each generation sees its own fears and anxieties reflected. A series of letters predicted the assassination of Franz Ferdinand just weeks before it happened. In the weeks before the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand in June of 1914, several warnings reportedly reached Austrian authorities suggesting that the royal visit to Sarajevo would be extremely dangerous. One letter allegedly named the date of the attack with unsettling accuracy, though the identity of the sender was never established. Whether these warnings were genuine predictions, informed speculation based on well-known political tensions, or later embellishments added to the historical record remains unclear. The assassination triggered the First World War, a conflict few had imagined would follow from a single act of violence. The idea that someone foresaw the catastrophe and failed to prevent it adds a layer of tragedy to an already devastating moment in history. Sometimes the future announces itself, and still no one listens. And from visions of what was to come, we turn to the strange workings of the human mind in history. Hysterical contagion spread through factories during the Industrial Revolution. During the Industrial Revolution, strange episodes of mass fainting, trembling, and convulsions swept through textile mills and factories across Europe, particularly among young women. In Britain and elsewhere, workers would collapse in waves, one after another, with no clear physical cause. Doctors of the time attributed these events to poor ventilation, long hours, and nervous exhaustion, but modern researchers believe they may have been examples of mass psychogenic illness, where stress and social contagion trigger real physical symptoms in groups. The factory environment, with its noise, isolation, and strict discipline, created perfect conditions for such outbreaks. These episodes challenged medical understanding of the era and raised questions about the invisible pressures of industrial labor. The body, it seems, has ways of expressing distress that medicine cannot always explain. The meowing nuns of medieval France barked and meowed in convents for no medical reason. In medieval France, convents occasionally reported outbreaks in which nuns would begin meowing like cats or barking like dogs, sometimes for hours or days at a time. These episodes spread through the community, with sisters joining in one after another until the convent echoed with animal sounds. Church officials attributed the behavior to demonic possession and brought in priests to perform exorcisms. Modern historians and psychologists suggest these were examples of mass hysteria caused by the extreme isolation, rigid discipline, and psychological pressures of cloistered religious life. Similar outbreaks occurred across Europe, including episodes of uncontrollable laughing, dancing, and screaming. The mind, when stressed beyond its limits, can express itself in ways that defy all logic. These nuns were neither ill nor possessed, only human. A wave of phantom attackers was reported in England in 1838, with no assailant found. In 1838, residents of London and surrounding areas reported being attacked by a mysterious figure who could leap over walls and breathe fire. Witnesses described a tall, thin man with glowing eyes and clawed hands who seemed to appear from nowhere and vanish just as quickly. The reports sparked panic, and vigilante groups formed to patrol the streets, yet no assailant was ever caught. The figure became known as Spring-Heeled Jack, and sightings continued for decades across England. Some historians believe the reports were exaggerated encounters with pranksters or criminals, while others suggest mass hysteria amplified a few isolated incidents into legend. Spring-Heeled Jack became part of Victorian folklore, a phantom that haunted the imagination of a fearful public. His true identity, if he existed at all, remains unknown. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon terrorized an American town, yet no culprit was ever identified. In September of 1944, the small town of Mattoon, Illinois, was gripped by fear when residents reported a shadowy prowler who sprayed a mysterious gas through windows at night. Victims described nausea, paralysis, and difficulty breathing, and newspapers dubbed the assailant the Mad Gasser. Police launched an extensive search, but no suspect was ever identified, and no gas was ever recovered for analysis. Skeptics have suggested mass hysteria fueled by wartime anxiety and sensational reporting, while others believe a real attacker simply managed to evade capture. The attacks stopped as suddenly as they began, leaving the town with no answers and no closure. The Mad Gasser of Mattoon has become a textbook case in the study of collective fear and its power over communities. Real or imagined, the terror was deeply felt. The windshield pitting epidemic of 1954 had no physical cause. In the spring of 1954, residents of the northwestern United States began noticing small pits and dings in their car windshields, seemingly appearing mysteriously overnight. Reports spread rapidly, and soon thousands of people were examining their vehicles for damage. Theories ranged from cosmic rays to sand flea eggs to secret military testing, and the public demanded official answers. A formal investigation was launched, and researchers concluded that the pits had always been there, but heightened attention had made people notice what they had previously ignored. The windshield pitting epidemic became a classic example of collective delusion, where expectation shapes perception and fear spreads faster than fact. No physical cause was ever found because there was nothing new to find. Sometimes, we simply see what we are told to look for. Mass psychogenic illness has been documented throughout history, yet its triggers remain unclear. Throughout recorded history, groups of people have experienced shared physical symptoms with no identifiable medical cause, a phenomenon called mass psychogenic illness. Outbreaks have occurred in schools, workplaces, and religious communities, with symptoms ranging from fainting and tremors to paralysis. Researchers believe these episodes are triggered by stress, social pressure, and the unconscious transmission of anxiety through a group. Once one person shows symptoms, others may follow through genuine physical response to psychological cues. These events challenge our understanding of the boundary between mind and body, suggesting emotions can manifest as real illness. Mass psychogenic illness reminds us that humans are deeply social creatures whose bodies respond to the fears around them. The mind can make the body ill without any germ at all. And from the mysteries of the collective mind, we turn to the strangest relics ever found. The Antikythera mechanism was created with technology thought lost for 1,000 years. In 1900, divers exploring a Roman-era shipwreck near the Greek island of Antikythera recovered a corroded bronze object that would later astonish historians. Analysis revealed it to be a complex mechanical device with dozens of interlocking gears, capable of predicting eclipses, tracking planetary movements, and calculating the timing of the ancient Olympic Games. Nothing of comparable sophistication would appear in the historical record for over 1,000 years. Scholars still debate who built the mechanism and how such advanced knowledge was lost to the ancient world. The Antikythera mechanism suggests that ancient technology was far more advanced than previously believed, and that entire fields of knowledge can vanish with the civilizations that created them. It stands as a silent reminder of how much we may never know about the past. The Dropa stones of China are said to contain records of a crashed spacecraft. According to a controversial account from the 1930s, hundreds of stone discs were allegedly discovered in caves along the border of China and Tibet, each inscribed with microscopic grooves containing an extraordinary story. The grooves, when decoded, supposedly told of an alien race called the Dropa who crash-landed on Earth 12,000 years ago. Mainstream archaeologists have been unable to locate any of the original discs, and the account is widely regarded as either a hoax or a misinterpretation of ritual objects. No physical evidence has ever been verified by scientific institutions, and the original researcher has never been identified. The Dropa stones remain popular in fringe literature as evidence of ancient aliens, yet credible proof of their existence has never surfaced. The story persists because the idea of lost contact with the stars speaks to something deep within us. The crystal skulls have been attributed to ancient Mesoamerican civilizations with no proof. Throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, a number of crystal skulls surfaced in private collections and museums, purportedly ancient artifacts from Mesoamerican civilizations such as the Maya and Aztec. The skulls were said to hold mystical powers and were believed by some to be repositories of ancient wisdom or gifts from extraterrestrial beings. However, scientific examination using electron microscopy has revealed that the skulls were carved with modern tools and techniques unavailable to pre-Columbian craftspeople. Most are now believed to have been created in Europe during the 19th century and sold to collectors as exotic antiquities. Despite the debunking, crystal skulls continue to captivate the imagination and appear in popular culture. They remind us how easily wonder can be manufactured and sold as ancient mystery. A small figurine in Baghdad may have functioned as an ancient battery. In 1936, archaeologists excavating near Baghdad uncovered a small clay jar containing a copper cylinder and an iron rod, sealed with an asphalt plug. Some researchers have suggested that this unusual object, now known as the Baghdad Battery, was capable of generating a small electrical current when filled with an acidic solution such as vinegar or lemon juice. If true, this would mean ancient Mesopotamians understood basic electrochemistry nearly 2,000 years before the modern battery was invented. Skeptics argue the object may have been used for storing scrolls or performing rituals, and no ancient texts describe its use for electricity. The true purpose of the Baghdad Battery remains unknown, but its existence invites fascinating speculation about lost technologies. Perhaps the ancients knew more than we give them credit for. And as these relics fade into the quiet of your mind, allow your body to soften. Feel the small muscles around your eyes relax, your jaw release, and your hands grow still. There is nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Only rest remains. The Shroud of Turin has been studied for decades with results that contradict each other. The Shroud of Turin is a 14-foot linen cloth bearing the faint image of a man who appears to have been crucified, housed in the Cathedral of St. John the Baptist in the city of Turin, Italy. Believers hold it to be the burial cloth of Jesus Christ, while skeptics argue it is a medieval forgery of remarkable craftsmanship. Radiocarbon dating in 1988 placed the fabric in the 13th or 14th century, yet critics have challenged the validity of those samples. Other studies have found traces of pollen from the Middle East and blood types consistent with ancient remains, lending weight to claims of authenticity. Scientists have used every modern technique at their disposal, and still the debate continues without resolution. The shroud remains suspended between faith and science, a quiet enigma wrapped in linen. The Ark of the Covenant vanished from historical record and has never been found. According to biblical accounts, the Ark of the Covenant was a gold-covered wooden chest containing the stone tablets inscribed with the 10 Commandments given to Moses. It was kept in the first temple in Jerusalem until the Babylonians destroyed the temple in 586 before the Common Era. After that destruction, the Ark vanishes from history, and no reliable account describes its fate. Theories about its location range from hidden chambers beneath the Temple Mount to the highlands of Ethiopia, where some believe it rests in a small chapel. Archaeologists and treasure hunters have searched for centuries, but no physical evidence has ever surfaced. The Ark remains one of history's greatest lost artifacts, a symbol of faith that may lie waiting in some forgotten corner of the world. Its silence speaks louder than words. The Holy Grail has inspired searches for centuries, but no one knows what it truly is. The Holy Grail first appeared in medieval Arthurian literature as a sacred vessel with miraculous healing powers, often described as the cup used by Christ at the Last Supper or the chalice that caught his blood at the crucifixion. Knights of legend embarked on perilous quests to find it, and its image has captivated poets, painters, and spiritual seekers for nearly 1,000 years. Yet historians have never agreed on whether the Grail was ever a real physical object, a purely literary invention, or a symbol for something spiritual beyond physical form. Churches across Europe have claimed to possess it, from Spain to Genoa to Glastonbury, yet none can prove their relic is authentic. The Grail remains more legend than fact, more question than answer. Perhaps its true power lies not in being found, but in inspiring the eternal search. The Library of Alexandria burned, and no one knows exactly what knowledge was lost. The Library of Alexandria was once the greatest repository of knowledge in the ancient world, said to hold hundreds of thousands of scrolls containing the wisdom of civilizations from Greece to Persia to Egypt and beyond. Scholars from across the Mediterranean gathered there to study, debate, and preserve learning for future generations. Yet the library was destroyed, and historians still debate exactly when and how this disaster occurred. Accounts blame Julius Caesar's fire, Christian mobs, or the Arab conquest, but no single event fully explains the loss entirely. What was contained in those scrolls, we can only imagine: philosophy, mathematics, poetry, and sciences that may have advanced human progress by centuries. The Library of Alexandria reminds us that knowledge is fragile and that entire worlds of thought can vanish into silence. The fate of Cleopatra's tomb remains one of archaeology's greatest mysteries. Cleopatra, the last active ruler of the Ptolemaic Kingdom of Egypt, died in 30 before the Common Era after the defeat of her forces by Rome and the loss of everything she had fought to preserve. Ancient sources state she was buried alongside Mark Antony in a magnificent tomb befitting her royal status and legendary beauty. Yet despite centuries of searching, archaeologists have never discovered the tomb or confirmed its precise location. Some believe it lies beneath the waters of Alexandria, submerged by earthquakes and rising seas over 2 millennia. Others speculate it may be hidden near the Temple of Taposiris Magna, where excavations continue to this day. The tomb of Cleopatra remains one of archaeology's most tantalizing mysteries, a final secret kept by the queen who captivated empires. Somewhere beneath the sands or waves, she waits. And from these lost treasures, we turn to the final mysteries that close our journey tonight. The Bermuda Triangle has claimed ships and planes, and science has yet to fully explain it. The Bermuda Triangle, a loosely defined region of the Atlantic Ocean between Miami, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has been associated with the disappearance of ships and aircraft for over a century. Notable incidents include the loss of Flight 19, a group of 5 Navy bombers that vanished during a training mission in 1945, and the freighter Cyclops, which disappeared with over 300 crew in 1918. Investigators have proposed explanations ranging from magnetic anomalies to methane gas eruptions to rogue waves caused by unusual sea conditions. Skeptics point out that the area sees heavy traffic and that its accident rate may not be higher than other comparable regions. Yet the legend persists, and the Bermuda Triangle remains a byword for unexplained maritime mystery. The sea keeps its secrets well. Oak Island has been excavated for over 2 centuries, and its treasure has never been found. Oak Island, a small island off the coast of Nova Scotia, has been the site of treasure hunts since 1795, when a young boy reportedly discovered a mysterious depression in the soil. Excavators have uncovered wooden platforms, coconut fibers, and flood tunnels that seem designed to protect something buried deep below. Theories about what lies beneath range from pirate treasure to Templar relics to manuscripts from the lost Library of Alexandria. Despite over 2 centuries of digging and millions of dollars spent, no substantial treasure has ever been recovered. The island has claimed several lives and ruined fortunes, yet each generation produces new seekers convinced they will solve the puzzle at last. Oak Island endures as a testament to human obsession with mystery and the treasures we imagine waiting just out of reach. The Phaistos disk remains undeciphered 4,000 years after it was created. The Phaistos disk is a fired clay disk discovered in the ruins of the ancient Minoan palace of Phaistos on the island of Crete in 1908. Its surface is covered with mysterious symbols stamped in a spiral pattern, entirely different from any other known script from the ancient world. Scholars have proposed that it may be a prayer, a calendar, a game, or an astronomical record, but without more examples of this unique script, translation remains impossible. The disc dates to approximately 1700 before the Common Era, making it one of the oldest examples of printing with movable type ever discovered. It remains the only known artifact of its kind, a single voice speaking in a language no one can hear. The Phaistos disc sits in a museum in Heraklion, waiting patiently for someone to unlock its 4,000-year silence. The origins of the Olmec colossal heads remain unknown despite decades of research. The Olmec civilization, which flourished in what is now Mexico between 1500 and 400 before the Common Era, left behind enormous stone heads carved from basalt, some weighing over 40 tons. These colossal sculptures depict human faces with distinctive features, possibly representing rulers, athletes, or deities. Scholars still do not know how the Olmec transported the massive stones from quarries located dozens of miles away through dense rainforest without wheels or draft animals. The heads were found buried and deliberately mutilated, suggesting complex ritual practices we do not fully understand. The Olmec left no deciphered written records, making interpretation of their culture difficult. These stone faces stare out from the jungle with calm expressions, guardians of a civilization that remains largely mysterious. History is filled with questions that have no answers, each one a doorway left gently ajar. From the silent ships drifting on empty seas to the strange lights that once filled the skies, from the dancing villagers who could not stop to the ancient stones that were carved by hands we shall never know, history continues to offer us questions wrapped in deep mystery. Each unexplained event is a window into the vastness of human experience, a gentle reminder that certainty is rare and wonder is truly infinite. We may never learn the truth behind these stories, and perhaps that is not the point. The mystery itself invites us to pause, to wonder, and to accept that some things are simply beyond understanding. Tonight, let these unanswered questions drift through your thoughts as you sink toward peaceful and restorative sleep. There is comfort in not knowing everything. Rest now and let the mysteries keep their quiet watch over you. And so our journey through history's strangest events draws softly to a close. From the vanished crew of the Mary Celeste to the eerie silence of the Dyatlov Pass, from dancing plagues in medieval streets to lights that filled the skies above Nuremberg, we have wandered through centuries of questions without answers. These are the riddles that slip through the fingers of historians, the moments that refuse to be explained, and tonight they have been our quiet companions on the path towards sleep. If this night of unexplained wonders brought you peace, consider joining our community of curious sleepers by subscribing. There are more mysteries waiting to be whispered, more strange corners of history to explore together. Share this journey with someone who might find comfort in the unknown. Right now, as you listen, the past continues its silent work all around you. The house where you rest is built upon layers of history, each floorboard a chapter, each wall a witness to moments now forgotten. You are part of this long story, a small and warm presence in the endless unfolding of time. Let your eyes close if they have not already. Feel the weight of your body pressing gently into the softness beneath you. Let your breath become slow and even, like the turning of pages in an ancient book. Release the tension in your shoulders, your hands, your jaw. There is nothing to solve tonight, no mystery that requires your attention. Only rest, only stillness, only peace. Tonight, as you rest, history continues its quiet march. The stars wheel overhead as they did above the builders of Stonehenge. The tides shift as they did on the night the Mary Celeste was abandoned. Somewhere, a forest still holds secrets buried for centuries, waiting patiently for nothing at all. You are a small, warm presence within this vast tapestry of time, peacefully resting among the wonders. Sleep well, sweet dreams, And may you carry with you the quiet knowledge that some mysteries are not meant to be solved, only to be held softly, like a candle in the dark. This has been Drowsy Discovery. Good night.